Okay, so here we go with our Middle Eastern beef bowl. So this is kind of a cool recipe because you kind of get it all in there. You've got your veg, you've got your beef, of course, and then you've got your starch as well. And you're really excited about the starch for using time. We'll get to that in a second. But why don't you start sharing how we make this recipe?
Yeah, definitely. So we started off by browning the ground beef. So we're using a lean ground beef tonight. Lean ground beef is great because you don't actually need to drain the fat. I like to keep the fat in there for extra flavor.
We've got, I think, some Peak of the Market onions.
Exactly. So we have some onions, some garlic. So we're going to add in these two over here.
Okay.
And of course, we're just gonna give that a nice toss. What you wanna do is just cook it on a higher heat.
Right.
Make sure that your onions and garlic get nice and cooked. And for sake of time here, we're just gonna add in our spices now.
Sure.
So I do have the salt and pepper here. So the recipe is on the website for the measurements. And then we do have some spices. So this is paprika, hot pepper, and some cumin.
Ah, and so it's one of those things you could probably make it a little more spicy or a little less spicy when you're talking about customizing it, right?
For sure.
Nice.
So I'm a huge fan of hot peppers. I like to add some very much spice to my food. Yeah, so that's the thing. You can always add more spice later on.
Yeah.
So you want to cook that down, and then once that gets cooking, so we're going to add the tomato paste, the water. The water is going to help the tomato paste to get the, the flavors all combined together.
Okay.
And then some lemon juice.
Oh, interesting. So that is not something that I would have anticipated us using in this dish. So what does that do? What's that about?
So the lemon adds some delicious flavors, but it also helps to tenderize the beef too. So you're just going to get such a fresh flavor in your beef, and that's really that Middle Eastern combination there.
Okay, right on.
So, of course, that's going to cook down, and then you're going to get this final product here.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like when everything's kind of said and done. So,
exactly.
Okay, so now what happens?
So the last thing you want to do is add your fresh parsley and mint, and again, just, cook that for a couple seconds.
So we're going to throw that right in here?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got, parsley. And how much of this would you put in? All of it?
I like to add a lot, so yeah, you can totally throw it all in there. And then you can add all the mint in there too. It just adds so much flavors, and then it'll be basically ready to go. And
mint is it's a real, that's something that you would find quite often in like the Middle Eastern dishes,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Sort of
it just adds that fresh flavor too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it just it hits you right away. Okay, wonderful. So there's the beef. Okay.
Perfect. So now you can actually assemble your beef bowl. Okay. So you can add in a little bit of ground beef.
So we would start with that. Now I like to kind of just put it all. But so would you prefer that just for the sake of showcasing it like this in the middle and then all the rest around?
Exactly. Okay. So beef bowls are usually fun to have those individual ingredients because you can see everything.
Right.
Honestly, you can do whatever you want at home. So whatever your preference is.
You can do whatever you want at home.
And then just
I want a little bit of everything. I'm kind of one of those.
Yeah, that's roasted eggplant, one of my favorites. Very much a Middle Eastern vibe.
This is delicious. If
Pickled
it is what
eggplant.
I think it is. Pickled eggplant?
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No,
pickled,
I was like, wow, okay, all right, so it is what I thought it was. Pickled eggplant might not be terrible.
That would actually be really good.
Okay.
So you've got some cucumbers.
Here.
I like the fact that you have the salty, the fresh, the spicy, so it kind of goes well together.
Okay, and then we've got some tomatoes. Oh yeah.
And I made a really delicious yogurt sauce.
Okay, well that's gonna go on last because that's like my favorite thing is the yogurt sauce. What's in the yogurt sauce?
So we have some cucumber, some olive oil. There's some mint, salt and pepper. And just some yogurt.
Wonderful. Okay, so again, you can sort of tailor this to whatever it is that you want. The other thing or however it is you want it to taste exactly. The other thing I was going to mention is, we've got barley, which you were very excited about. So this is a little bit different than sometimes I would think rice is often used. So
for sure.
Tell us about why barley is so great in this dish.
Yeah, so barley is a really great high fiber food. You can definitely use rice, but in this case, it's just something nice to have variety. So barley is a very high fiber food, great for gut health and just overall heart healthy. And it's a great texture, right? So lots of nutty, chewy flavors too.
Yeah, and it's a cool Manitoba product where it's sort of perfectly positioned geographically to produce lots of great barley, which we do. All right, there we go. So our Middle Eastern beef bowl, when we come back, Mexican beef bowl, right here on Great Taste of Manitoba.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by the Government of Canada and Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership.